Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. You and I in the Northeast, we are surviving some nasty weather out here, and the only thing that can help me get through it is, let's be honest, to talk about Walt Disney World. And today we're going to talk about a fun topic that I'm sure as a travel specialist you get asked about constantly. So tee it up for us. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about the next best thing to making your memories, and that is capturing your memories. Disney has expanded incredibly in photography. Obviously, we've all carried phones and video cameras, but we're going to talk about when you want to use your own, when you want to work with Disney, and if you're having a gloomy day like we are in the Northeast, as Jeff alluded to, even some Disney photo fun that you can have sitting at home.
So as you mentioned, this is not new, right? Disney's always had photographers placed all over the parks. It's something that anybody that's been to Walt Disney World has seen. I've had former students that have gone on to be Disney photographers, which is always fun when you run into them in the middle of the animal kingdom and they're like, "Can I take your picture, sir?" And you're like, "Oh my goodness." So it's not new to people if they've been to Walt Disney World to see these photographers kind of walking around there. But the things that we're going to talk about today, some of it is new, right? Some of it is a kind of an enhancement to what the traditional experience has been since they've had those things.
That's along with the Disney motto. It never stays the same. It is constantly changing, enhancing. Some people will say some of it doesn't always enhance. We'll talk about that too. But they're always looking for new and more.
So I guess let's start off with just some general photography info. Does that make sense? Is that where we should jump off first?
I think so, because obviously Disney is a super popular place for those family photos and vacation photos. Disneyland is the #1 Instagram spot in the world. The other thing is it's become really popular for baby announcements and wedding announcements, honeymoons, gender reveals, all kinds of great things. And I don't know, I used to think I had several creative bones in my body till I see pictures on social of how creative some of these people are. So I want to give people a little bit of things to think about, but I also want to make sure that nobody painstakingly puts together all these efforts to get down there, take this photo, only to be turned away. So there's kind of two big things to know. And one is Disney does not do photography that could be perceived as a product endorsement. And I will kind of go offline a little bit and say not only photography, but autographs. So, for instance, if you want to announce something for Mickey and have him hold up your new company logo, he won't do that because that's considered an endorsement.
Right.
You want to announce your baby's name and it's clearly a birth announcement, or it's a photo of a wedding, they will do that. But they also won't do general logos or well-known logos. So we had an instance where Annie was trying to do autographed sneakers and then get them photographed. And I'll be honest, I was being super cheap. I wasn't sure how often she'd wear these autographed sneakers. They were $10. I'll go for the endorsement myself here. Ked-looking things that I purchased at Target. And originally we were turned down on getting them signed because they had the Ked's name to them. Mm-hmm. And when I pointed out that they were generic nothings with no name on them, they then signed them.
Right. Okay.
So same kind of thing when you're looking at your endorsement. You know, if you're naming your baby after somebody famous or swoosh or whatever, you can't be holding a Nike sign, anything like that. So keep it personal, keep it fun, and definitely you can bring props then.
Okay. So that's our general disclaimer. But let's talk about really the nuts and bolts of what goes on there. Where does it make sense to start in the theming of what we're talking about tonight, which is just the dynamic way that some of these photos can be taken?
I think, as you said, there are photographers all over the park, and we'll talk about some of those general photos and special photos. But one of the really great things is if you want to do an announcement, or if you're like myself or many of our clients and it's a multi-generational trip, don't leave it to chance. Disney has a great program called Capture the Moment. It's available in all 4 theme parks. It's a 20-minute session with a photographer. You have a designated day and time. So, for example, if you're going in the heat of August, you don't want to gather everybody when you finally find a photographer at, 4 o'clock in the afternoon after you've been rained on and dripped on and all of those things.
Right.
You can schedule a nice morning shoot while you're all fresh and looking good. And it's $99 plus tax. They do recommend a gratuity, which is an interesting thing because you do not need to, nor is it expected or looked for you to tip those PhotoPass photographers throughout the park. But this 20-minute session is considered semi-professional. Disney has some limited props for you, but again, you're welcome to bring your own. And each park, you're going to meet with the photographer. There's some designated areas that you can go to in each park. They'll give you a list. You're encouraged to pick 2 places that are near each other. So, for example, in Epcot, there's 6 countries. They don't want you picking the 2 furthest away. And I think for me, part of the neat thing with doing those photo shoots is if you are that Disney person who's been to the park over and over, especially in Epcot, they kind of know all the nooks and crannies and great photo spots that you might have never considered. So it's 20 minutes of photos. Depending on their day, they'll give you a few more minutes. It is a maximum of 8 people, but if you are a larger family group, you can book 2 back-to-back appointments so that you've got 40 minutes and you can bring 16 people then. They'll make that work as well.
Well, and I can't imagine that this is the type of thing where it's just, we want some pictures, take the picture. It sounds to me like this would be the type of thing where you were doing exactly what it says, capturing the moment. So 20 minutes to get your pictures taken for a very specific purpose. I mean, $100, that's not crazy. It's just not.
No, and it doesn't come with photos. I want to say that up front. Those photos will be included with PhotoPass. I've done photo shoots. I've also been the little lurker person standing there as I've watched those gender reveals and baby announcements and engagement photos. And I have to say, some of the photographers and some of the locations really lend themselves to that and are super neat. I watched them do an engagement announcement on Main Street. And I'll give you all this free tip that you can go do yourself if you don't want to use Capture the Moment. They took one of the chairs that sits outside of Tony's. If you can all picture them, They're the white wire back chairs. And in the middle of the chair is actually an open heart. And the photographer laid down on the ground and was able to shoot the couple at the right angle so that their face appeared coming through the heart of the chair. So this isn't 20 minutes like the photographer that's standing in front of the castle. It's not 20 minutes of them going snap, snap, snap. They're really
right.
working with you, encouraging different posing and a lot more time dedicated to you and your family. So definitely worth a try for $100. Worth a try for $400 to get something in each park. You definitely can't go wrong.
But available in each park.
Available in each park, advanced reservations, though they will take walk-ups if space allows.
Okay. So that's just, capturing the moment. Talk to me about some of different kinds of photo shoots that we can make happen on property.
Besides that, there are 2 other major ones in my mind. Neither require reservations, which is great. If you go to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and right now we still only have the one open in the Magic Kingdom, just outside of the castle, there is a photo shoot area just for boutique children. whether it's princesses or knights, you can go in, do that mini photo shoot, no charge for that one.
Okay.
All the rest of the things we're going to talk about today are all no charge. You don't get any photos with them. You can download them as part of Memory Maker or purchase individual photos right through the app.
Okay.
And then over at Disney Springs, they have a studio that is just so much fun to play in. And if you want to play, I really encourage you to go during the day. Because sometimes I've gone to the studio and I am the only person there and they'll let me play till somebody else comes. Sometimes there's a line and they really do limit what you can do. But truly, the world is your oyster there. They have everything from virtual backdrops. So maybe you're planning that special photo shoot and you want it in front of the castle, but you know you don't want any people there with you. You know that you don't want to be sweaty and gross. They'll put the castle behind you. They'll put all the icons. They've got lots of shots from in the park. And quite frankly, besides the lack of people in the background, you would never guess that they're virtual shoots.
Sure.
They also have a book you can look through, and they do some really neat green screen effects. You can do that. And I've also seen some great ones done there with people in a variety of costumes. So you can come, you know, if you're big Star Wars fans and you're doing Batu one day and you've brought costumes for that, but you want to go over there for a photo shoot, you can do that. You can go pre-Halloween party one day. So lots of opportunity to play.
And where are we finding this in Disney Springs? Because as anybody that's been there knows, it's massive. So where are we heading?
Super small.
Yeah.
It is in the marketplace, so the shopping center.
Okay.
And it is between Erebus Brothers and Trendy. So just if you're facing World of Disney and the water is behind you, it's going to be a tiny bit to the left of that wonderful spitting stitch.
Okay, great. Good to know. Now, this next part that we're going to talk about, to be fair, I think in our conversation was really the impetus for today's show because they're new. So talk to us about some new special cameras that we've got on property.
They've got two different things, and quite frankly, they look a little funky, and you wonder, I'll be honest, I kind of stumbled on them and asked some questions about them. One is going to be a super zoom, and one is going to be a tiny world magic shot.
Okay.
And again, these are things that you can do for free. You'll see them on the app. If you haven't purchased Memory Maker, they are going to have a watermark on them, so they're not usable unless you purchase them.
Right.
But you can see them and decide first. The super zoom is a 15-second mini video that is just adorable. And again, offered in all 4 parks. So there's a place where they're going to do either your individual photo, your couple photo, your family photo. But you're going to get this video that's kind of a high-end overview of the park or a section of the park. Like there's a great one in Hollywood Studios where you kind of look at, they're going to take your picture that you'll also see, and it's just your family. It's very evidently in Batu if you know Batu. But when you get your photos on your app, you're going to see you start out in the sky, and it's like a bird's eye view from a plane over Batu and zooming in and in and in till here's your family. Okay. So just cute little fun. And you can see a lot of these options on the PhotoPass Facebook page. That's where they keep up to date with a lot of the offerings. There is no printed guide for them all. I'll be honest, we tried to make one and it is extremely difficult to keep up to date. So the big thing is to know what options there are and then ask any of the photographers you see. And they are hard to miss. Their current costume is this bright lime green shirt. So easy to spot.
Yes, sounds incognito.
And go up to them and tell them what you're looking for. Ask them, hey, do you do any magic shots? Or where can I get the magic shot holding baby Simba? Where are they doing the super zoom in the park? They'll tell you whether they can do it for you or exactly where in the park you need to go. Because as I said, there is no guide put out by Disney or anyone else I know, because it will vary a little bit from day to day.
And that goes for Super Zoom and for Tiny World Magic Shots?
And for the Tiny World Magic Shot. The Tiny World Magic Shot you can often find on your own, depending. You'll see it. I wouldn't go wandering for it, but you'll know it when you see it. I'll call it a sad-looking robot contraption. It's kind of a tall tower that stands about 4 foot tall, which looks like it has like a round globe on the top. Okay. And that's how they create this Tiny World Magic Shot. You stand around the camera, and again, it's going to do something like there's one at the castle, there's one in front of Spaceship Earth, and it's shooting the view above. So you're going to get Spaceship Earth in full view, and then your family kind of spread out tiny around it on the ground. And so that one is a different type of camera. So it's very evident what they're doing.
Okay. The other piece that we had talked about, and you actually just said this to me right before we went on air, was this is something I should play around with at home too. What about on the My Disney Experience app?
There is a really fun thing to play with there. One of the things that I love about it is that you can play with it at home. So you don't have to be in the parks and use your park time. Maybe you're missing Disney. It's a great way to do it. Log into your My Disney Experience account. It doesn't matter whether you have a vacation reservation or not. Hit those 3 little lines in the bottom corner. Click in the very top right box, says Disney Photo Pass Lenses. And if you click on that, you're going to get sucked down this rabbit hole and play for quite a while. You
Sounds
can
like
do
Disney.
anything from a selfie where you get a bellhop hat or a Groot on your shoulder to creating some cool photo montages. Cool. And then there's a couple where it takes your face and it makes you into Genie or one of the members of Avatar. So really something to have fun.
You know, you mentioned do it at home. I have conflicting emotions about that. Want to be fun for the children, and then every 10 minutes I'm just going to get asked for the rest of my life, can I use your phone so I can turn myself into Genie? So parents beware. You've been given information and warned in the same podcast. It's that simple.
It only works on Mondays after your homework is done.
That's right. Well, it's fair. There's a lot of qualifiers there.
You know, we can all get creative.
Can we talk about PhotoPass before we say goodbye today?
We'll talk about it briefly. I'll drop a link in the show notes, and not to toot our own horn, but today's episode is episode 195.
Correct.
And I looked back to see where we dedicated 20 minutes all about PhotoPass. You don't need me to tell you the same things. It was all the way back on episode 6.
That's a long time ago.
Long time ago. So I'll give you a brief overview.
Sure.
PhotoPass is how Disney takes those photos. They're going to scan your Magic Band. They're going to scan the QR code on your room key. There's even just a QR code right in the app if you don't want to carry anything extra. And all of those photos load into your account. PhotoPass Plus is then the ability to have those downloads or even turn them into some really cool products.
Right.
If you purchase it more than 3 days in advance, it's going to be $169. It's going to have all of your photos for all week, all your photos, all your videos, and a lot of magical extras. There's some stock photos and things in there as well that you can use. It's $199 for all of your photos, less than 3 days or after your trip. There is a discount for military members. You'll need to purchase that through your base. And the other thing is you can always just purchase one photo. And I know I use the word photo and video, but I do want to be clear. It is the right to download them and reproduce them.
Right.
So you'll get a copyright letter that you can use at your favorite photo spot. Disney offers a lot of products that you can put your photos on, but you can also upload them to Shutterfly or any of your favorite photo places as well.
Anything else you want to discuss before we say goodbye today?
You know, I will say at the beginning, we talked about change and things that evolve over time. One other thing that Disney has done is they've added some unmanned photo spots. These are character spots where honestly, there's a person there to greet you and help you interact with the character, but the camera is on a pole that's nicely designed, as only Disney can do. There is no actual photographer with them. And I know when it came out, it was extremely controversial, but I think the reality is it works. You're standing on a spot, you're not moving, there's no background, there's no people getting behind the characters, because these are character locations, indoor character locations. And what that allowed them to do was free up photographers for some of the really cool effects that we just talked about. So, I think there's great options. I'm a huge fan of the PhotoPass Plus, the Memory Maker product, and capturing all these memories. There is nothing like looking back when you first get home. And honestly, I was just going through some photos this weekend, and I found some from about 15 years ago on my computer. And it's like, wow, things have changed, but the smiles stay the same.
Well, and I think that's the big takeaway from here, right? Every time we have conversations, and I know dealing with you and somebody that's planned vacations for other people, but also for yourself, by the time you're on vacation, you feel like you have to document so many things. This is a great option where that doesn't have to be a responsibility of yours on the trip. So thanks for breaking it down for folks. Have a great week.
You too.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know can benefit from this or any show, please share on your Facebook and Instagram for other Disney fans to enjoy. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination plan. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.